Hi, I'm Dr. Charles Mell, head of Carr South Africa. We've been presenting Carr's Easyway to Stop Smoking clinics and selling his book for over 20 years. Same clinics are available as a live online group seminar on the internet. The CANSA Association of South Africa, after examining our published success rates, have been endorsing our clinics and books for 12 years. I'm making this short video today to help smokers who are struggling with some useful advice and for World No Tobacco Day. When I talk about smokers, I'm talking about people also that vape, e-cigarettes, IQOS, heat not burn, anybody that's addicted to nicotine. Now, Alan Carr's philosophy has always been it's a great idea to stop smoking, and that has been before COVID, during COVID, and it will stay a great idea after COVID. During the COVID pandemic, smokers in South Africa have been forced to run out of cigarettes, deal with nicotine withdrawal symptoms without understanding and support, and also forced to pay ludicrous prices for cigarettes on the black market. So what I wanted to do today is introduce the idea of something that stays the same, that we think differently about. Thousands of years ago, when we looked at the horizon, we thought it was flat. Now we look at the horizon, we know that it's round. The horizon itself hasn't changed, but certainly how we think about it has changed. So I want to apply that to smoking and try to help smokers think more simply and differently about smoking. If you say to a smoker, do you think it's difficult to deal with the physical symptoms of nicotine withdrawal? They'll normally say yes. And certainly that's what I believed, because I was a 40-a-day smoker for over 20 years, who also thought they loved smoking. Let's start by looking at some of the facts about nicotine withdrawal. How does nicotine withdrawal actually feel physically? If you concentrate in the right way, you will pick up that it's an empty, insecure feeling identical to a hunger for food, a feeling of void. Smokers normally recognize that feeling as needing something to do with their hands or a little something missing. Now, it's not a pleasant feeling, but very importantly, it's not a painful feeling. And the key is to understand what is scientifically causing that feeling. The empty, insecure feeling of nicotine withdrawal symptoms is simply the physical manifestation of your brain and your body and your nervous system healing. When we stop smoking, we experience those feelings noticeably for 7 days, and they're normally gone completely after 21 days, 3 weeks. Now let's examine some facts about experiencing nicotine withdrawal symptoms. Smokers go every evening without smoking, and it doesn't bother them in the slightest for 8 hours. You might say it's because I'm asleep. If the physical withdrawal is so bad, why doesn't it wake you up? A full bladder will wake you up. All of our lives as smokers, we meet smokers who love smoking. You offer them a cigarette and they say, no, I stopped. And you say, when did you stop? They say, oh, I can't remember. And then you say, how did you stop? And they look you in the eyes and they say, I woke up one morning and say, that's it. I don't want to smoke anymore. We've all met people like that. When smokers wake up in the morning, they're obviously experiencing nicotine withdrawal symptoms. We don't wake up in pain and in tears. You put a smoker on a long-haul flight. We don't start ranting and raving. We just sit there and fly. So after considering the facts, it's reasonable to accept that when you analyze carefully how nicotine withdrawal symptoms feel physically, there's no pain, just an empty, insecure feeling that feels very much like a hunger for food. So if the physical withdrawal is so slight, where does the climbing of the walls, the tearing of the hair out, and the misery come from? Simply from this. I once gave a child a piece of chocolate. She was 5 years old. 10 seconds later, her mother came past, took the chocolate away because they were going to have supper. That young lady dropped to the ground, stiff-legged. Her blood pressure went up. Her heart rate went up. She went red in the face. Tears started streaming down her cheeks, and she had a serious adverse physical reaction. What was the physical cause of that reaction? No physical cause whatsoever. It was a mental feeling of deprivation. I want my chocolates. I can't have them. Misery, tantrum, tears. It's exactly the same with smoking. I want my cigarettes, I can't have them. Misery, tantrum, tears. If I don't want my cigarettes, then I'm dealing with an empty, insecure feeling that's not painful. So what is the solution? All we have to do is to get the smoker not to want the cigarette. And that is what we mean by treating the real problem, which is the mental addiction. If you remove the want to smoke, nothing on the planet can force the smoker to smoke. So the key to trying to cope and not be so frightened of nicotine withdrawal symptoms is firstly to try to recognize the empty, insecure feeling at a simple physical level. Empty, insecure feeling. The second is to remember what is scientifically causing that feeling. It's simply the physical manifestation of your brain and body healing. If you do this in the right way, it can often prevent the empty feeling moving into your brain and starting off the conflict and the misery of feeling deprived of the cigarettes. Here are some other tips that can help you remove the fear. You must remember, it's the fear of never being able to be happy without cigarettes that prevents smokers from stopping. You've also got to remember that the very worst thing about being a smoker is it makes you angry with yourself. That's the very best reason to stop. Who wants to live a life perpetually angry with oneself? If you smoke because you think you enjoy them, you want to start to ask yourself, if I didn't enjoy them, would I still smoke? Always remember, a cigarette does nothing for you. Relieving the empty feeling caused by the previous cigarette is not real enjoyment. How you stop is not important, but you've got to keep your eye on the best gains. You'll become less stressed, more relaxed, better able to concentrate, and way more energetic. Think, if smoking was so enjoyable, why do the directors of the tobacco companies and their children not smoke? Living a happy life is what we all try to do. Being addicted to a neurotoxin that creates stress and undermines your intellect only makes that harder to achieve. You need to start to believe that you have it within your power to stop. You're no different from all the millions of smokers that have already stopped. The only difference is how you think about it, and you can change that at any time. Don't let the fear of living your life without cigarettes make you unhappy. Remember, what terrible thing can happen to you if you never smoke another cigarette? I hope this was helpful. Stay safe and goodbye.